One of the things that we've noticed is that when you're in college, there are some things that you're faced with, things that I know when I left home and went to college, I was faced with a whole lot of things I had not seen before. So part of what we're doing tonight is we want our college students, and part of being free in 2023 is to talk about the experiences that they have. And we have 4 segments that we're dealing with tonight.
Oh, okay. Um, Hello, my name is Kayla Stanford. I am from Columbus, Georgia. I'm a senior biology major.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kiera Gamble. I'm from Mobile, Alabama, and I'm a senior majoring in biology.
Hello, my name is Monique Woodson. I am a junior and I'm majoring in computer science with a concentration of cybersecurity.
Hi, my name is Tavia Kelly. I'm from Pompano Beach, Florida. I'm majoring in psychology, and I am a junior.
Very good.
Good morning, ladies and this is evening, right?
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cameron Gildersleeve. I bring you greetings from Mobile, Alabama. I'm a junior biology major.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Cameron Harris. I'm a senior media communications major here from Huntsville, Alabama.
Can you hear me? Hear me now? Yes, no.
Yes.
All right. Greetings and most humble salutations, everyone. I'm Savion Smith. I am a graduating senior criminal justice major with a minor in psychology from Atlanta, Georgia. I am also a dual enrolled student here at A&M and Drake State Technical and Community College, where I have 5 certificate courses, but I'm getting them in cybersecurity. I just signed my offer for the summer. For the summer, I'll start working in Deloitte for a GPS public service.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charles Walker. I'm a civil engineering major from Birmingham, Alabama.
At this time, we will start with segment 1.
Hello, as stated, my name is Sandra. I'm retired. I have a degree in mortuary science. I have a degree in environmental engineering, and I have a master's in public administration. And I retired from the government from as an acquisition analyst. As stated before for this summit, they asked me to talk about the topic of alcohol. Um, so we all know that most of us have faced alcohol somewhere in our life, middle school, high school, college, and for some of us beyond. Because alcohol has existed since the beginning of time, whether it's beer, wine, or hard liquor. We all know alcohol exists. And I can go back to my days when I first experienced it. I mean, I knew it was out there, but when I was in a private Christian school, and when certain ones would have a party, they would come down the hall and they would look at us and they would say, "What's the word?" And we'll say, "Thunderbird." That meant they were going to have some Thunderbird at that party. Then somebody might come out along and say, "White Irish Rose." Oh, yeah. And then when they really wanted to get good, they would walk up and say, "MD 2020. Whoa, whoa. Bad dog, 2020. Oh, the party was on then. So I experienced that in high school. So I know by the time we got in college, it was chicken, chicken. It was over. Well, I'm saying this to say that now different alcoholic beverages exist. None of us has escaped that alcohol doesn't exist. And I do know that there's at least 4 types of drinkers. And then again, none of you all in here may even be in that number. We have the social drinker who drink to celebrate. Then we have the drinker who conforms. They want to fit in. They want to be with their boo thing. And because they boo thing drink, well, I got to drink. Then you got the drinking for enhancement because it's exciting. Because I got courage when I drink. Because people sometimes think when they drink, they can say and do what they want to do and it's okay. And then we got the drinking to cope, to get rid of all our worries or that science test that we flunked, so we drink. And then again, there's another one out there that I learned about that's called the rainbow drink. It's a challenge where you finish a drink from every color of the rainbow. You set out 7 different colors of drinks and you try to drink all in one night. And I'm saying this because some people may come up to someone who's new and say, "What's your firewall?" Somebody else may not know what that means. Or someone might come up and say, "What's your poison?" Or someone else might come along and say, "What's your liquid courage?" Or somebody might say, "My punch punch," which we know in the old days it was made of moonshine. I'm saying this because people approach people about alcohol in all different manners, and we never know how it's going to be. So I want y'all to discuss what is real, what is relevant to today, because that may save someone. Someone out there that might hear it, have somebody to come up and say something like that to them. What's your liquid courage? And they're thinking, what are they talking about? Or somebody might come up and say, "What's your giggle juice?" And you thinking, what? When that person who's innocent may not know that someone's trying to push alcohol down on them. And I'm not here to judge because this is a no judgment zone. This is just talking. Whatever y'all say may help someone else out there who's new to college. Because all of y'all are in your junior and senior years, so you knew what you had to face. So I'm opening the doors to you all now to talk about your experience or what you think can help someone else out there who's entering college, high school, even middle school nowadays. So the floor is open to you all
Well, can I start?
now.
So I like how you said like when people come to college, they don't know what to expect. And I know before I came, personally, like my first like real drink was with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to see what how much I can take and what's my limit, but also how would I react to it.
That's right.
And I think that is a good thing because I've been to parties where I've seen like freshmen and they'll go wild, they'll go crazy, and I'll look at them crazy like, relax, calm down. It's
Yeah,
it's a way to have fun, and there's a dumb way.
that's right. That's very good.
How you mentioned earlier, how there's always different ways of drinking. I've seen all those levels throughout college, even before college as well. I've seen people do it as a social drinker. They're doing it because the social setting in which they're in or the people they're around. Everybody else is drinking, so they kind of feel a little more comfortable doing it as well, even though that are, even when they go to a restaurant or even by themselves, they wouldn't have a drink at all. I've seen people do it to cope with certain things, and maybe not even help coping, but they feel it's helping when it's really not doing anything for them at all. But it's just like a placebo effect that they feel like might help them out. Even some people who do it to kind of get their nerves down, who just maybe relax, even from personal experience. So I used to play basketball at James Clemens High School. One of my teammates, when he would get like a really big game and get nervous, he would take a shot before the game, just get a shot to just kind of relax, not to be so uptense, just kind of, get back to his normal self. And it would actually help him. Like, we've seen how he played without it and without it. And it's two completely different things. And, like, in some senses, it does help some people, but some people, once they see it can do something for somebody else, they can feel as it'll do the same thing for them. And that's not just the case.
That's very good.
Hello. Just to piggyback off what Cameron said, I believe it's a stigma that is very negatively weighted on some students in college, and not only just students in college, but a lot of the youth. So that hype effect of, oh, let's take a shot before this because of what the liquor is supposed to do for us. And I think that's like the way that liquor and all these negative aspects of what society is turning to now, how it plays on us. It's I know what I'm trying to say. I can't really kind of get around to it, but it's definitely that stigma because even myself, I'm in college too. Of course, I've dabbled before, and that's just something that my parents know, something that my family knows. As long as it is safe, as long as I'm being safe and smart when it comes to it. And at times when I'm with my line brothers, they have my back, and vice versa. But to sit here and have to depend on the alcohol to make us feel better or to have to depend on the alcohol to make us have a good time. It's just, you know,
Like you said, it's
yeah,
that stigma.
it's that stigma.
That's
Definitely,
Some people think.
definitely.
There, anybody else? Okay. So there's a difference between having a drink and drinking alcohol just because. And that's the line of where alcoholism starts. When you don't know if I'm just having a drink because I'm socially and this is something that I wanted to do and the choice that you made. And then two, I'm falling for something or I'm doing something because of what it can't do or what I'm looking for it to do for me. So whenever having a drink or consuming alcohol or whatever type of drugs it is, because we now consider alcohol a drug. So whatever type of drug it is, you have to know the line. Why am I consuming this? Am I doing this because I want to have a good time? Or am I doing this because it's going to lead to a good time?
True. That's very good. Yeah, that's very good.
Nah. No, you good.
Oh,
You sure?
oh.
Okay, so and then again, just piggybacking off that, we as young adults, not just us college students, but adults period, have to know when to stop, and we have to know the effects of the liquor. Just because XYZ didn't happen when we were drunk the first time doesn't mean it can't happen again.
That's so
And then the places that we're drinking in, we have to be aware of our surroundings. Young men, young women, anybody, anywhere have to, make sure that we are, because it's all type of things that just,
That's true.
the liquor takes over your entire mental system, takes over your body, everything to the point where you can black out, you will not know anything until that next day. And it just, it's definitely that stigma because before I came to college, drinking was not on my mind. Drinking wasn't on my mind. I don't smoke, but smoking was not a thing in my household. That's just not what it was. I have four brothers here and a sister that just graduated. All of them have smoked before here, and then that's only after we came here. Like we would never do that, but just that peer pressure effect and that stigma that it has. Oh, we're in college. Oh, I'm stressed. I just failed the test. So what is a way that I can get away from this, that, and the third? Instead of keeping it pushing and going forth in a healthier way. Or even at times, like I've failed before and I pray. I go to a First Missionary Baptist Church and I go to the church at times because I have a very, goal oriented mindset. So at times when it comes to something I'm doubtful about, instead of resulting to drinking or smoking, et cetera, I'll turn to the more positive aspect, which is something that I believe that needs to be taught a lot when it comes to not just the mental of college students, but the mental of all those. I can talk, my bad, sorry.
Listen to what.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
God,
Listen to what Savion.
you gotta think it, just, it's back.
Hello.
A little
Hello.
bit louder.
You hello.
All right. Is it on?
All right. Listen to what Savion said. It made me think about what systems are
Might just have to talk without it.
what systems are actually in place for us when we come in as freshmen. Like, what are the things that freshmen could do that could cope with whatever they have going on when they first step into college that could take the place of drinking and doing that stuff. Do we have different avenues that allow us to do different?
And sorry, anybody else? Okay, yeah, my bad.
I think what all the guys said is true. All their points are very true. I just want to say that I wasn't really prone to like underage drinking. That was really something I did. I do socially drink now that I am of age, but I just think that all young people should just be more aware of like seeing if someone's drunk, like just try to help them. Just be more aware. Like be like, you need to stop. Like, do you need a ride? Can I call someone for you? Like, just be more aware. Just try to help someone out if you see them like that. And yeah, I don't have to say it right now.
Well, I was initially going to say, basically coming in as a freshman, I believe that you don't always have to like drink or do anything just to have fun. I think that it's all about who you're around, who can you experience things with. If you wasn't doing that to begin with, or you don't know how it's gonna react to you, why do it now?
Yes.
About 15 minutes. I said it's about 15 minutes. I don't want to run over.
All right, so
Anybody
we
else?
got a few more minutes.
Yeah.
So when you talk about alcohol, you have to look at someone's family history.
Mm.
Because a lot of times people drink and don't know where it's coming from or what leads you to have that craving of alcoholism. Because, like, even me and my family, I know that my family has a history of alcoholism, of alcohol abuse. So you have to know those type of things when you're in college. Those are the type of things like people say, what goes on in my house stays in my house. We have to get past that stigma in life, period.
I
Because what goes on in your house affects people on the outside of your house.
I agree.
So if you know that you and your particular group of people, y'all have an alcohol problem, be prone and say, or be proactive and say, I'm not going to go to where I'm going to see a lot of liquor. I'm not going to go to where I see a lot of drugs. If I know, looking at women in small skirts is something that, it drives that thing in me, let me not go to where women in small skirts are.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
You don't want to go to, it's temptation.
yes, right.
And we all fall short of it. But how do we keep ourselves away from it? Just don't go to where it is.
That's right.
And it's inevitable. No matter what party you go to in college, there will be some liquor. I promise you there will
That's
be.
where self-control comes in, right?
And you
as
got
said,
to,
you got to just, and not that I'm bringing God in this, but like he said, you really got to focus on. And sometimes for some people, I must close with this. I've known people who have come out of a family with alcoholism and they've seen what their father, their uncle was like, and they said, you know what, I'm not going down that road. And so sometimes we as ourselves have to make a decision, which path, as you said, you're going down. But I think the discussion was wonderful. I'm glad y'all opened up and I thank you for having this opportunity to do this.
I have to talk a little about drugs and peer pressure. But so I'm Reverend McClaney. I've been pastoring in the CME church for about 20 years. Um, I have my bachelor's from Miles College in criminal justice. I think someone said criminal justice. And I have my master's of divinity from Phillips School of Theology in Atlanta, ITC. But to talk about drugs and to talk about peer pressure and also it's preference as well. And so the one thing I like to do, and I'm seeing this today happening, we have always tried to tell you all what you should and shouldn't do, and what you should and how you should think. And so I've longed for an opportunity to let you tell me how you feel about things, get your perspective on things, because I'm an old man and I'm going to look at things the way I looked at them. And it's a new time. And so that's the movement that we're taking and putting in place so we can listen and so we can hear you. I know, and I got to talk about drugs, right? And what I like for you all to do for me is based on the constructs, and I hear you mentioning constructs of your life, your family, your community, and if you were in church, our school, and share with us how that has made you or mold you to be who you are now. So when you face this situation, I want you to come from your foundation. So when you come into the encounter of the freedom that you have in college, it's like, okay. But then your construction directs you. Okay. And so, yeah, and when I think about drugs, man, I did drugs and it messed up my life. you know, because I didn't think it was a bad thing, right? But it turned out I played basketball, football, baseball, and ran track. I played and I pledged. I see the alpha. I pledged Kappa. That's why I asked you. But my life with drugs and the smoking marijuana. I mean, so drugs. I mean, it's not illegal now, right? You can get it from any corner. But it can have an effect on you, a long-term effect. And I'll share mine. I think, let's see. So I played baseball in college. I went to Birmingham Southern. I started out at Tennessee State. But when I got to Birmingham Southern, I thought I could smoke marijuana in the front of the elevator on the first floor. You know,
Oh,
not good thing, and we could put the towels under the door and think that the smoke didn't go out. Okay, so and so I graduated spirit of '76, and so I did that. So I did that, and I got kicked off the team. No doubt. Went to UAB. I got academically ineligible because I was smoking dope. I thought I could audit a class, and I didn't know what audit was. And audit turned out to be you didn't have credit for that course. And so I got academically ineligible. And I played baseball. It was 32 white guys and me and another brother from Philadelphia on the team. But drugs did that for me. And then I went to the military. I done come a long way. So I don't mind sharing. I got 5 minutes. Have I talked 5 minutes? Well, I might be able to keep that one to myself. Y'all don't heard enough. So give me an idea of the constructs of the influences in your life that make you who you are right now, and how does it deter you or even attract you to doing drugs, or if there is peer pressure, share that, please.
We'll let the women go first.
You let them go first. Okay. Nice chivalry. That's a good thing.
Um, like Cam said earlier, I feel like you should know the foundation of your home. It's very easy to sink into peer pressure, drugs, alcoholism, anything that's bad, especially if you got friends that just are around you. Friends. Everybody ain't your friend. Everybody ain't your friend. I feel like it's just the foundation of how strong you are instead of letting other people make your decisions for you. At this point, this is going to teach you, are you ready for college? Do you need to go back home? Do you need to go to a community college? What is best for you? Instead of just digging a hole every day of you sinking in alcoholism, bad intentions, anything like that. I feel like me personally, I don't like peer pressure. It's weird. I don't like other people telling me what to do first of all. So that's fine. I feel like it's strong will at the end of the day.
And because of your upbringing,
Yes.
you base it on that upbringing that allowed you to be strong.
My great grandmother was a very God fearing woman. So she taught me every scripture in the book that I could do until I got it. It's all of your upbringing and how you are. If not, you have to learn how to break from what's bad in your house.
That's important.
Um, I agree with the fundamental of your family. I I grew up I grew up knowing like, okay, my grandparents, their family, they have all abused alcohol, they all abused drugs. So when they look at our generation now, they shame us for the things that we do, knowing the bad things that they have done. And certain things that they'll shame us for is like all of me and my mother's kids, we all smoke marijuana, yes. And my mom's philosophy on it is, are they doing it responsibly? Who are they doing it with? Where are they getting it from? Because you can't just get it from anybody.
Right.
And where? So my mother's rules are, you can smoke in my house, even though back home it is legal, but we're black, you can get arrested for anything. So she believes that you can do it at my house. I have to know the person who you're getting it from, which means she'll sometimes get it for them or any of us because she knows it's safe. She knows the person she got it from, and she knows that she's giving it to her kids, and they also know that too. And then also, and my grandmother doesn't think it's a good thing. And she'll be like, but I'm here. I know they're doing it responsibly. And I know how my kids tolerate it. She knows that when my sister smokes, she gets giggly and she laughs a lot.
Right.
She knows when me and my brother are, we chill and we know how to have fun. So she'll sit there and she'll like, you know how this reacts to you, you know how this reacts to you, which is why my first drink was with her because they all abuse alcohol. And she doesn't want to see her kids also take advantage and fall into that same hole. Which is why she was like, I would rather my kids do weed because our philosophy on weed is, yeah, it's grown, but all you do is pick it off of a plant and put it in the bag and you sell it. That's it. It's not going to a lab. You ain't putting nothing else in it. It's safer than most other drugs, even though yes, it is a drug, but to us, it's like a vegetable sometimes.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So with peer pressure, you get it a lot in college, even being in sororities and things like that, because I'm a part of a sorority. And so, I really don't like going out to party and things like that. I'm more like laid back. I'll do my work and stuff instead of going out to party. And so, being a part of like different organizations and things like that, they will like say, "Hey, you should come out this night, this, that, and the third." But like deep down, when you know something's like, it's going to be a lot of people here. It's going to be a lot of like, alcohol, smoking, and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know how people are when they get stuff in their system. So then they start shooting and everything. So that has happened before. Like, oh, you girl, you should come out here. You should do this. You should do that. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And then I'm like blessed that I didn't go because they were like shooting out there, and like that could have been me that got shot or something. But peer pressure is real, and like people who are your friends, they're like, well, I've done it plenty of times. Nothing's happened to me. And then like, but your tolerance is different, like especially for females and males, like your body mass. Guys can drink like a whole bunch, but like for us, like one drink could just end it for us, or drugs too. So peer pressure, yeah, yeah,
Great.
it's real.
Thank you.
Is it on? So for me, being from Atlanta, there's a lot of things I had to dodge. There's a lot of instances where I almost went to jail for whether it's something small where I have a lot of siblings. So if I felt as if one had something I didn't have and my parents weren't giving it to me, I had to get it myself. And it was not the smartest thing, but as a child, that's kind of what, where my head. I do have, well, I did have a brother that sold marijuana from the basement of our home. And a lot of the things that I have a lot of stuff. So we did a lot of stuff, but everyone has turned their lives over. So we're all good. Everyone's doing great. But at that time, it just happened to be that rough patch that we all just happened to have to go through to kind of give us that stepping stone. So what for myself, what changed me was hurting my parents, seeing how it affected them, affected my siblings, and how it could affect me if I continued on the path that I was going down. So also, I did go to church. One time I remember, I'll never forget it. And the preacher was saying something about forgiveness and turning onto a new leaf. And that's when everyone began to stand up. My mother looked at me and she was like, now you know you need to stand up. And I stood up. And at that moment, it was like, wow, wait a minute. Because you can feel stuff just with everyone praising around you. So that's another thing that I kind of look at. But to kind of dive into the peer pressure aspect of coming to college and knowing in my mind, body, and soul, I do not want to hurt anyone. I have to do everything for myself to make sure that I'm good and to continue my life in a nice, positive way. I just make sure that I have to ask myself the question because everything does not just affect you, it affects everyone around you, like Cam said. So that's kind of my spiel.
For me, similar to Savion, how he was in an environment where he kind of had or saw a lot of these things around him that weren't necessarily good for him at all. But he felt like, in a way, it was right next to a point where he had no choice but to encounter it. I had a similar situation. I was a lot of my family, even me, I grew up in the country part in Bilo. So me and a lot of my cousins spent a lot of our time. And like I know some of the country, as much as the police officers be here in the city area, they don't be over there for real. So you can get a lot away with doing a lot more you're not supposed to do. Young kids, they start driving earlier and start getting access to things they shouldn't have access to, such as alcohol and marijuana as well. And with me, I had 5 cousins actually who all been arrested for having weed on them just in the past 2 or 3 years. So it's just seeing how that's hurt my mom and my dad and my other family members, how they react, even when they got out, even when they kept going. Some repeat the same cycle, some change their life around. Just seeing how my family started to slowly change and how they would talk about them, talk to them in any regard that sets a tone with you. That kind of it impacts you in a way. You see how that can happen to somebody else who's still family, so you don't want that to ever happen to you. And with peer pressure going on, a lot of people are like, man, just do it, man. Just, like, hey, you're in college, you're young, or, you're not going to do it forever. You might as well just do it a couple times now. Like, yeah, it sounds good, but you never know. And with alluding to what Savion said earlier, just because something didn't happen this one time, you think you're immune to it for any other time that you do it. That's just simply not true. You just got lucky that one time. You may have been blessed or protected by God at one time, so you allowed nothing not to happen to you. Sometimes He will allow something to happen to you as a lesson. We all are taught lessons in different ways. So with peer pressure and drugs, it's for some people haven't learned their lesson yet. Some people never did learn their lesson and they turned their life around. And some people they learned it off the first time. And that's just it's a reality that we have to realize and a reality that we're living in currently, especially here in college. A lot of people do it. Some people do it responsibly. They do it when they're in the safety of their own place, or they know they're not affecting nobody else. Nobody can get in trouble for it. There's some people that don't care. They'll do it before class. Some people do it after class. Some people go into class while under the influence. That's just simply like something that's just not right and something to keep doing. Because then the pattern will keep on going. The stigma that's behind it will keep on going and being stronger. That's something that we may never be able to avoid if we don't start putting our step forward in it now.
I just want to add that we're young, get it done. We're young, do it now. That is the worst thing to live by. To sit here and say, you're young, take the shot now. You're young, drink this now. Now, being young does come with certain things that you're going to do, but blaming it on the fact that you're young is not the smartest thing because I can sit here, I can't smoke. It just doesn't, my body just says, like, no, this is not happening. I have heart problems, I got chest problems, stuff like that. I could die. So I can't say, oh, well, he was young and, he tried to smoke. There's no life behind that. You can eat, like the first time you smoke, the first time you drink, your life can be taken from you like that. Driving, other instances with other people, certain stuff like that. I know.
This time, okay. And one thing, let me just share it at the end. It's two things. Everybody may not like you for peer pressure, but everybody does not matter. And also the decisions we make today are the decisions that face our future.
How are you all doing? Good evening.
You
Y'all are my child today. Oh my God, this must feel like crazy sitting back here. But my name is Sharita Joyner. Okay, I'm a principal here in Mexico City Schools. I have a child that's 22 years old. That's a junior at TSU. So all of these conversations, my mom is sitting back there. We're just you. I think it's Savion, you and I'm like leaving you out of I'm like, oh my gosh. But in my house, I've had all of these conversations. I'm more over here with the guys because I kind of side eye the females now. Like, is this young lady good enough for my young man or whatever? So, with that being said, I am a graduate of Alabama A&M University, undergrad and grad, and then I did some extra coursework at Sanford University. So, again, I'm a principal here in Huntsville at a local school, and I attend church here as well. I'm going to talk about two things, and that's relationship and date rape. And as I did a little more research, and I think now we're calling it acquaintance.
What?
All right. So I got my girls over here nodding already. So what I want you to do, I know you all have your phones. Let's look up what the definition of relationship is. What is your definition? Or better yet, put your phones down. What's your definition of relationship? What's your definition? Anybody?
the bonding of two individuals, was starting at a what's the word?
I'm for real. I'm for real. Well,
It's just the bond of two individuals starting off at a cordial rate that can soon improve to intimate bond.
Okay, all right, young lady.
A healthy bond between two people, whether it's friends or another gender.
Also, when we think of relationships, just don't think of like a sexual relationship. I have a relationship with the Thomases. They've known me since I was a little girl. Okay. So relationships are not just when we're thinking about relationships, let's not be just right here in the box. Let's be broad. Okay. Let's be broad with relationships because we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Now, look at Webster's dictionary or Google relationships. Let's read the true definition of what a relationship is supposed to be. Who has it? Real quick, fast, and a hurry. There you go. I was waiting.
The way in
Hey,
which
Siri.
two or more objects, people are connected or a state of being connected.
So with that being said, as you said over here in yellow shirt, Mr. Cam, the bonding of two, okay, or more, okay, in one relationship. All right, so we have that. We know what that is. Now, here's the thing: what we have to decide is what is healthy and what is unhealthy. Okay, and so that will take us into the segment of date rape or acquaintance rape as well. So look at it. What do we think a healthy relationship looks like? What does a healthy relationship look like?
How you communicate.
Communication,
Can I be vulnerable with you?
being vulnerable.
Yes.
Okay.
Like security, compromise, unity, things of that nature.
Mature. You gotta be mature.
You gotta be mature. Okay. Anybody else?
What the relationship, what the relationship makes you like, in your particular relationship with each person makes you feel more successful, are you happier, or the negative aspect, are you more unhappy? Like what, how does your life?
Is this relationship helping me grow? Is it hindering me? That's that peer pressure also that goes into that. Is this friend that I have, be it male or female, be it my girl, be it my girlfriend, is this good for me? Is this, am I doing the right things? Am I growing this relationship? What you got? You got some. I see you.
Oh, I told him I was gonna jump in when it gets to bad relationships.
So we know what a positive relationship looks like. We know what that looks like. Clear communication, being able to chit chat, bounce things off of one another, all of that.
Funny.
Keep on going.
No, okay, so what I had said was, he was like, we all know what a positive relationship looks like. And my first thought was, honestly, no. Because I didn't grow up with positive, like, male and female relationships. So I was like, no. But when I'm down here, I see it more often. But in my eyes, I'm like, is that truly happy? Or is it, you're just fronting for me?
Because as one said earlier today, that what goes on between your four walls in your house. Oh, we know what happens in our four walls, but outside we putting on this front, right? To make everybody think that we got it all lovey-dovey and we got it going on, be it girlfriends, guy friends, or whatever. So that is very true. So not everybody, we can read the definition to tell us what a healthy relationship is. But am I living or do I work with a healthy relationship? Okay.
So when we talk about relationships, we have to put it in the mind frame of who is our influence in this relationship. Because every relationship has three parts to it. First part, second part, and then the truth. There are three different parts to every relationships. But if we all learn how to live in the truth part of the relationship, then the relationship won't have so many parts. But in every relationship, no matter which relationship it is, whether it be a sexual, a friendship, mother-daughter relationship, father-son relationship, there's always going to be those three parts. One, because one person is always tempted to feel as if I don't quite want to tell you everything. And when you draw that first line of I don't want to tell you everything, then there's something called doubt that enters. And when that doubt comes in, the whole relationship aspect changes.
With that being said, that takes me into the unhealthy relationship. So I know you're ready to talk about this. So what a healthy relationship looks like. So let's go into an unhealthy relationship.
A narcissist.
A narcissist. All right, narcissist.
They will never let you speak, never let you have anything, not even letting you feel the way you want to feel. They will literally project how they feel onto you. They will never let you fully speak. The way you feel is invalid. Period. There's no way you could feel. The way I tell you to feel is the way you should feel because I love you. You love me, right? You love me. We're in love. I buy you this, I get you this, you smile. I do whatever you ask me. But you have to feel the way I tell you to feel. Now, when we go out in front of these people, we're gonna let you. But I'm like, I'm gonna be contradictional later. You're not gonna have a voice to speak later on.
And an abuser, an abuser, verbal, mental, physically, emotionally. I cut you off.
I was like, we were agreeing with what you were saying.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. Well, yes. So even for the male audience, there's always been that I scarred. Can't even talk about it. But there's that. There's an overthinker. There's a person that will, it kind of goes in those lines of a narcissist, someone that will do something but will try to plant that onto you because they are doing something to get that kind of distraction off of you. We can go on.
Baby guys.
Yeah.
This one's broad. Yes, sir.
So relationships, it's really big in our community nowadays. We see multiple discussions about it. Everybody talks about it. You see it on social media. You see people on podcasts talking about it. There's any form of media that they can, or where they have a voice and if those people will listen, they'll listen to it. Relationships, though, everybody's relationship is different. I feel like the biggest way and the quickest way to lead to an unhealthy relationship is to look at somebody else's relationship. You're not that person. You're not him. She is not her. So that's the biggest mistake you can make. You have your own faults, you have your own problems, you have your own good, you have your own pros. Same way that other person has their own goods and their own faults as well. You need to focus on your things and continue to improve yourself for not only your significant other or the other person in a relationship that you may have that bond with, but yourself. The only way you can make that relationship improve is you continue improving yourself and be the best that you can be.
See, another thing that I don't know why this society is so adamant on having a relationship with someone or trying to be with someone before, like you said, being happy with themselves. Like this is it. I personally like, especially like with this Valentine's Day thing going on. Everyone's
Talk about it.
yeah, like
Let's talk about
everybody
it.
always wants to have the best Valentine's Day stuff going on and stuff. All that. Why? Why? It's no point. Like honestly, I'm good by myself. Like see, like I'm good by myself, but it's like
Jump in right there.
everybody's not good by themselves. And another thing that kind of messes us up, like you said, not loving yourself, sex. Before anything, the first thing a lot of people have is sex, and you're not secure within yourselves or within the both of you are before you intimately get into something that could go left, right? And that's a lot of reasons why people have these negative, aspects because only thing that's putting it all together is sex.
Wow.
I was coming in right behind you. Better go for it. Go.
Right.
That's exactly what I was just about to bring up. When you was talking about like what's the reason why you in a particular relationship? What does it do for you? If I and even when it comes to friendships, if I spend my entire day with Savion, it don't really happen like that. I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, is there something of value that he's bringing to my life that will help me out in the long run? When you spend a day with somebody and it doesn't do anything for you, you're gonna look back at the relationship and say, "Oh, this is the reason why I'm where I'm at, and I'm not moving any further."
So, speaking about that sex part, in the Bible, it talks about how Joseph never knew Mary. You're supposed to know the person you're about to sleep with. The fact of the matter is, we have sex with people and we don't actually know the person. You don't know this person's family history. They could probably be that one person that's hiding that one crazy cousin, and y'all get together and y'all had this baby, and you wondering why you didn't made a, quote unquote demon. You done fooled around and had a monster and trying to figure out why is my child like this? Ain't nobody in my family like this, but you didn't quite do your extensive research. You have to know who you're getting into a relationship with because when you get into a relationship with somebody, you don't just marry them. You marry their entire family. No matter how hard,
Exactly.
and even we ain't gonna say marriage. Just baby mama status. You baby mama their whole family because that's my grandbaby. Or I'm gonna go and pick him up from grand. You got to deal with all this. You need to know what you about to get yourself into. Because no matter, even if they say you wear a hat, safe sex is the best. But everybody ain't having it. Everybody ain't having safe sex. And even if you are, there can still be that thing of it pops, it bursts, and we slipped up just one time. That one time can cost you a whole lot of time in your life. 18 years is by government law and minimum.
It's a lifetime.
It's a lifetime.
So that child is 6 feet under.
I would say, and then guys, we can pay child support, and it's not as easy, but females, on the other hand, they trap because you got to have a baby. That's 9 months. You got to care for the baby. That's 18 years. Don't let them want to go to college. Then that's another 4 to 6 years.
Exactly.
Then you got to help them get to the first apartment after they graduate college. So
It's like 25.
it's a setup. So you need to know what you're getting ready to get set up into.
Yeah.
One more comment, just to piggyback over what Cam said, because he is preaching right now, as he is a pastor. I'm sure y'all can tell by now. But with a lot of relationships, like I say, both intimate and cordial, a lot of people focus on the now and they don't take the future in the account at all. Everything now, you only realize that I focus on that because that's what's going to affect you immediately. If I don't do this now, then I'll fail this class, or this person won't talk to me, or I won't get this opportunity. Where in the future, you might have a bigger opportunity, a better person to run to, or even a bigger dream that you might accomplish. And with the sex part that Cam was alluding to, they say, yeah, now like, you can just see a person. A lot of people, they said, they're having sex without knowing the person. We're just window shopping. And the product could look good across the window from you, look good, but once you get it, it's not what you need at all. Or it might be something worse off than what you already had, or you're better off without. That's what a lot of big things we understand. A lot of people like, oh, she looks good, yada, yada, all that stuff. And girls, vice versa, how they look at guys in their own way. A lot of people just looking, we're just using what we can see when we guys see it. We're only looking at the physical aspect. We're not seeing who they are. We're not looking at what's inside that person. We're not seeing what makes that person them, which would be the reason why we would stay with them or stay away from them. And even what Cam's saying with the 18 years and the time span with the future and with future and now, say you have that baby with that person, it's the 18 years. But even the most important part, you're not only just dealing with the baby, you're dealing with how that woman becomes after she has the baby. She's pregnant now. She's gonna go through a whole bunch of emotions when the hormones kick in and postpartum distress. That's a big thing for females that a lot of men are educated on. That's a big thing that could easily ruin it right there before the baby is even walking or even say his first words yet.
So, oh, they need a part. I'm sorry.
No, I was enjoying it. Okay, I love when men speak knows what they're talking about because usually they don't. No,
Y'all got
they not. They judge me when I turn into.
Go Charleston.
I was about to say, I just wanted us to try to move into the date right before
I
the
was
time and all.
right here.
Because I'm actually interested in what we'll be talking about.
I'm like, I don't want to skip that part.
Date rape and acquaintance rape is what I've seen a lot of when I was reading and researching a little bit about this. So I know I'm not going to keep you much longer, but where does this happen? Can this take place? Where does this take place?
Anywhere.
Anywhere. So at this point, I want to make sure that young men and women are taken care of because in statistics, it's also that young men could be raped at this point and taken advantage of. Usually we see it's us that is taken, that we're taken advantage of, but now they have some statistics in reference to young men being taken advantage of by more than one people. So you all really like and us ladies, we're still making sure that you're hanging with the right young ladies that are going to protect you and make sure that you're safe and sound, making sure that we're seeing the whole picture. Forgetting sometimes let's not just go on appearance and that car and that all of that what they have. So that's something in reference to neighboring and acquaintance rate. I know we're out of time. So
We are. Can we get 60 seconds?
Can we keep going on this topic just for a second?
What y'all can take 60. We'll take the other 60. All right.
Actually, me personally, I am a victim of rape at my first university, at Albany State University. So I kind of know the differences between the two. I kind of got caught in the middle of the wrong crowd in my own apartment at the wrong time. So I feel like my roommate got caught in a glam of who he was, what he wrote in his status, basically. So me, I just didn't really care. That's how I got caught up in it. He didn't like that I wasn't caught up in his stigma or his cloud in a way. And yeah.
So, yeah.
Other direction. So rape is what it is. It's non-consensual sex with someone, or you know, you just slip something in their drink, or you didn't lace that weed if y'all were smoking or whatever. Anytime that you have sex under the influence, it can be considered rape, and that's one thing a lot of people don't consider. When you talk to someone and y'all are having intercourse under influence, it can be considered rape. Or you can talk about when you just, that traditional rape, or however you would like to say it, but date rape. Date rape. It's more common than we think. It literally is. I worked in the health and counseling facility on our campus, and every day, if it wasn't one to two females coming in, we were dealing with cases of, hey, so and so touched me, or so and so did this to me, or so and so. And if someone feels like you made them feel a certain type of way, because now it's not just the fact of it needs to be proven. If they have a hint of it feels a certain type of way, that's what it is. And you can go to jail just because somebody felt a certain kind of way. And you may not have had those malicious intentions. They may have consented to it, but if they were under the influence, you're caught up in a legal battle. If they were, if they were not quite in the state of mind, or if the court proves say mentally they're not able to make those type of decisions, boom, there you are. And you don't want to end up in a place like that. So just be aware of one, who you be around, two, who you're allowed to be around you.
And what you consume as well. Not putting it because this is a very controversial statement and controversial topic. But a lot of the times when it comes to what we're all consuming, getting in in these settings and not saying that this is what, and I'm sorry to hear that. But a lot of times everyone's drunk, everyone's high, everyone's intoxicated. And at times it wouldn't kill anyone to just back up a little bit or not even drink at a party to get some things, or to just, be aware. Just be aware. I actually don't like this. My sister was victim of this, so I don't like this topic.
And keep in mind, only 1 out of 15 girls ever report their rape or their sexual assault.
I have some statistics right now that I was just gonna read out. 84% of those raped were their attackers. 1 in 12 male students surveyed have committed acts that met the legal definition of rape or attempted rape. And I mean, that's just questioning young men. 45% of victims did not tell anyone. And then only 5% of the rape victims reported crime.
I I think that is so true because when you say they knew who they knew, or like they know what they was getting themselves into, just because a woman is friendly to you, they laugh at your jokes, they might touch you some way, somehow, that doesn't mean
It's okay.
that it was okay or that she wanted it or that she even wanted to be more than that.
It's always a stigma, but like you said, there are more statistics with boys happening. I've
Yeah.
heard it myself, even at Albany, just because again, it's boring there. So it's peer pressure. I've heard even my closest friends, along with me and my story, I'm a part of that statistics of not speaking. So it's a real thing.
I'll tell you in reference to my son at CYYAW, he was like, hey, mom, we're at a party. At this party, we had a good time. We smoked it, we're drinking. My mother knows my son has a good time as well. But he was like, mom, these girls, like they're both wow. Like, something ain't right. Like, are y'all, I mean, like, they were saying, are all the girls on something? Because it was like 2 or 3 girls on one guy. And he was like, man, we had to leave. Like, that ain't cool. Like, I don't want no girl like that. We want him to be a good person, but, just don't take control. But it's happening. So you guys be aware. Females still stay aware, stick together. All of y'all stick together as well. But I don't have anything else to go on.
So my name is Marilyn Johnson. I have a degree in business management with emphasis in management information systems. I just retired last year from a federal job where I spent, about 20 years, but my, as a senior manager at a nuclear power plant over the quality control years. So when I was asked about this thing, I was asked, you know anything about guns? And I said, sure I do. We grew up with guns in our house. You know, I lived in the country. And as it goes, they used to say that we live so far in the country, they have to pipe sunshine in. So as part of growing up with brothers, um, we went hunting. And then my brothers got older, moved out of the house, my sisters and I, we went hunting. We ain't killed a whole lot, but we scared of them. Um, so we're gonna discuss guns and gun violence. So the Second Amendment right to bear arms is your constitutional right to own and possess a gun. Um, but let me back up a little bit. Part of that is that we respected guns and we were taught to do's and not to do's. You know, this is a certain place, and unless you're going to go hunting, unless you're going to get it out to protect yourselves, because there was like coyotes and wild dogs and everything. So unless one of those, you didn't touch the gun, because if you did, you would probably die by the hands of your parents. But the Second Amendment allows you the right to bear arms. But sadly, gun violence is nothing new. I mean, it's not new anymore. And it almost seems that we've become immune to the gun violence, because every day, not only national news, but your local news here in Huntsville, any given day that you turn on the TV, there's someone been shot, there's someone been killed, and not just one, you're looking at multiple. You're looking at multiple. So there are some statistics that are out there. When I started looking at those, they were really staggering. So in Alabama in 2022, death by firearms, there was over 20,000. 20,000 in Alabama. That's a lot. And nationally, there were like 648 mass shootings. That's a lot. And like some people have become desensitized to it because we're so saturated with it that we can't recover from this one. And you have another occurrence and another and another. So, um, so what the discussion that I would like for us to have today, in regards to guns and gun violence is, you know, you've heard the old saying, and well, maybe it's me showing my age, but it used to say, if you follow the stink, you can find the source. But when we talk about the legislature, we talk about our government putting measures into place, then it becomes, if you follow the money, you find the source, because there is a source behind all of that. But what I want you to think about is, um, how do we flip that script of what we see every day on the news? And if you have any personal experiences regarding anyone that you know that was affected, or how you have been affected by gun violence, whether you was personal in it, or somebody you knew, or somebody in your family. So I'll just open that up for that discussion now, ladies.
Okay. So for me, I didn't really grow up around guns, but my father was a police officer, so he had guns in the house, of course. And like his dad is a police officer, and my uncle is also a police officer. So I basically have guns around me, but not in sight. But my father, he was murdered by guns and stuff. So gun violence is really bad. And also with my uncle being an officer as well, he has a kid too. So being an officer, you like just have bullets like in like your holder or whatever. I don't know anything about guns that much, but yeah. And so basically, he accidentally one time left like bullets in the dryer and everything. And so, if you leave them in the dry, like if you leave you put the bullets in your clothes and then you like forget about them, and so they're in the dryer. After a while, they could actually like go off. And so, good thing my aunt, she found them, like, cause she was like, "What's this in the dryer? Like, is it coins or something?" So she went and checked, and they were bullets. And my cousin, he's little, like he walks around and everything, so he could have been like injured. But also being in Mobile, Mobile is not really bad, but sometimes it can be like if there's like a big gathering and a social. Some people they're like, okay, well, we're gonna like say we're in an argument and we're gonna take it out in public, and all y'all are around and just start shooting. The person you're actually trying to get to, you accidentally hurt someone else. And the little saying, like it's off this movie back in the day. We didn't used to have guns. We used to use these. So, yeah. So, I just feel like gun violence is really bad, and I have also lost my aunt to gun violence as well. And so, I feel like for it to be switched, because I know also in some states they have raised the gun law thing. Like you don't have to have a permit or anything like that. You can just go get one. And I'm not around guns, and like I'm not raised with guns and things like that. But I was thinking about getting one just for self protection sometimes, even though I wouldn't use it. But if you are caught in a situation like a life or death situation, and it's either you or the other person, I would rather be the other person and not myself. So yeah.
Which going back to what you're saying, like I have lost a family member to gun violence. They targeted him, and my whole philosophy on it is I do believe in fair arms because I do also want to own a gun one day. I grew up around them. I believe in responsibly having one. And there are people who, yes, they are like they conceal carry, but they're negligent with it. I know that my mother would tell us all the time. She was like, "You guys grew up with guns in the house, and you guys would not know." You want to know why? Because when you have a gun, you lock it up. You put it somewhere where your kids know you can't go in this closet. Why? Because you don't know what's in there, but because I already told you once before don't go in there, which means you should not be in there. But also, it's also the fact where like you can get guns anywhere, which is why there are so many school shootings. And that does not, it's not always about the guns itself. It's more about a person mental at that. You don't know what like everybody is going through. You don't know how what you do affects somebody else. Also, in that point of view, also, I can't say I've never been to where I've never put myself in a position where I did not feel safe going. You can go to a party now and get shot up recently. Did not know about it until I came back. But there are events where that does happen. And in my point of view, I was like, I go to public events. It can happen in public events, yes, but also like house parties. And there's like trends and stuff like that. And we're gonna go to this trend. You don't know half of the people there. You don't know what's going on. You don't know who has what. You don't know nobody. And then someone just shooting at the crowd and they're targeting one person and you just kill a whole bunch of other people because of one person instead of just using your words or using your hands. So that's
Piggybacking off of the statement of school shootings, my friends and I, well, I was outside of the school because I was just visiting. They were a part of this Parkland shooting. Yes. I was almost grazed. No. One of my friends were grazed. I lost one friend. Her name is Meadow in the shooting. I feel like, Monique said, it's a person's mental. It's a respectable thing to have a gun to protect yourself. I don't really think guns are a bad thing unless you're promoting them bad or using them in a bad manner. If it's not a life or death situation. But also school shootings, they take thousands and hundreds of lives. That Nicholas by itself took almost 20 people out and injured 30 to 100 people in one building. So I feel like it's a respectable manner of how you can have a gun and to protect yourself instead of just like using it for a video shoot or flexing with your friends, even though you don't know how to use it. Yeah. I just feel like it's a peer pressure thing.
Just agree with everyone said. Where I live in Columbus, Georgia, the crime is like really bad. Like it went up like maybe like 50% since like I've grown up. So I guess like I said, I'm kind of desensitized to like gun violence. Like I grew up around guns, like people hunting, like my family hunting and stuff. So I'm not really like desensitized kind of. But yeah, I feel like the laws just aren't as strict as it need to be. Like people just, it's so easy to get guns. Like just in my city, like a couple of days ago, like the juveniles like shooting up stores and like kill someone at gunpoint. Like it's just so easy to get guns. So I feel like the laws just need to be stricter and just have better cycle dynamics on anything.
Um, Great. So to piggyback off of everyone, if you can kind of hear what the problem is or could be, there are so many unhealed people in this world that need to just simply heal. But a lot of people don't have the outlets, or they don't know where to find these outlets, or they don't know how to get to the outlets, as some say, because some people are so hurt to the point where all they know how to do is bask in their hurt. So for me, like I was saying once before, I can just sit in the church and I can do homework in the church. I can just chill in the church. That's my forte of my healing. My brothers might have different healing techniques, but we all don't have the same. So when it comes to these mass shootings, we have these some of the mass shootings are students from years ago, or it's just some type of relation is there when it comes to that school and that person or the shooter, as I should say. And all it takes is one triggered, idea or triggered thought or whatever the case may be to simply cause a person to go off. And myself, I have a weapon, but I have a weapon. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot, and I have a lot to protect for myself. So when it comes to having a weapon, I know for a fact the only thing that I would do if I ever had to use my weapon is shoot someone in the foot. I don't want to be responsible for taking a person's life. I would shoot someone in the foot before I would kill them or shoot above the waist. That's just my way to protect myself. But there's been moments on campus where I felt where I had need to use my, weapon or whatever, but I never did. I found another way to. I've had a weapon drawn on me in my apartment by a police officer that did not know he was in my apartment. So it's been a lot of it's a lot of ways that people can misuse their weapons, and there's a lot of corrupt things when it comes to not just regular citizens that have stuff going on. These officers that we're dealing with every day also have stuff going on as well that they do not know how to handle, and they let their power take a hold of them, and it's just a lot of things. And even the officers on our campus have this type of demeanor or that type of intake of themselves where they feel as if just because they have a weapon that they can do whatever and they need. Are we going to time?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, and that's the thing. Why does a weapon give someone so much mental power? Just like money also gives certain people mental power. Is it because you never had you never had that for you? Is it because you don't know how to fight, or is it because you don't know how to find another way to protect yourself, or why? That's what I think. If there was a way to get people to actually, figure this stuff out, get people to actually find a way to heal and get past all of this, because the way people just die off because of ignorance. Back home in Atlanta, there was a 16-year-old that lost his life. He bent over. He had his gun. 16-year-old at the mall. His gun was right here in his pocket. He bent over to tie his shoe and he killed himself. Senseless. Obviously not on purpose, but why? Why does a 16-year-old have a gun? Why is all this stuff so accessible, easily accessible for us at such a young age, or just in general? There needs to be, and I'm getting to my criminal justice type vibe. There needs to be some type of. It shouldn't be this easy for me to even have one. I'm of age, but it still shouldn't be that easy. I still shouldn't have one. I should feel as if I should be fine. So I just, That's all I can say.
We don't.
Oh, sorry.
I think the biggest thing probably is just to inform not only yourself, to educate yourself on how guns work and what you should do with them and how you should be safe around them. Just like Miss McClaney was talking about earlier, how she basically grew up with guns and they was hunting and everything. As long as you and your household understand how guns work and how to be safe around them, then you should be fine. I do believe I was probably around 6 or 7. I do have an uncle that was a police officer who's retired now. We were at my grandmother's house during Christmas gathering probably, and I was with all my older cousins, and we looked around, and one of my older cousins all of a sudden just said, "Look at that! It's on top of the nightstand or whatever." And my 6-year-old self, I have no idea what it is, but it's a loaded gun. And our uncle finally came in at one point and just gave us a whole rundown on a lesson of never to touch it without his permission. Well, he's not going to give us permission, not that, but just to be safe around it. If you see it, don't touch it, and just make sure you do all the necessary precautions. Where you shouldn't be touching a gun if you're at a certain age, if you get what I'm saying.
And to kind of combine, I ain't gonna take tomorrow, I promise. But to kind of combine what Savion and Charleston both said, Savion talking about there's so many unhealed people. I'm sure some of us heard the phrase, all of us hurt people hurt people. A lot of people have seen some things that have scarred them. They've been a part of some things that have scarred them for life. And in a way, to try, in a way they feel is to avoid that confrontation or that encounter, having a gun is that best option. I'm sure a lot of us seen Friday when Craig's dad's talking to him about Spence talking about fighting instead of using the gun that Craig had found. And he said, you win some and you lose some, but you live. You live to fight another day. But a lot of people, they're afraid to lose some. That's what a lot of people are afraid of taking that loss. A lot of people are not afraid of not getting the good they feel they should have. They're afraid of the negative outcome that comes from a lot of events in the world. So in a way, they feel as if to avoid that, they feel if instead of fighting the individual or whoever they have an issue with, they feel like if they have a gun, they're going to be on top of it every time. But the way people think nowadays, it's not just one person thinking that as it was a couple of years ago, some decades ago. Now both sides have a gun. And not even just both individuals. Their friends have a gun. The friends of friends have a gun. Now instead of being a one-on-one issue, it's sides now. And that's more violence that can lead to more deaths of underage individuals or people of age. And either way it is, in the way I feel of nobody, there's no age that you should be eligible to die to gun violence. That shouldn't be a thing. And I hate that's becoming such a statistic nowadays because of everything that's going on in the world. Everybody has access to guns. Guns are getting easier every single year, year and year as it goes on to get access of. I know people younger than me that have access to guns. I don't even have a gun myself. Do I want one for the future? Yes, just to protect myself. I'm not ever going to go out with a gun just in case. I know some of my friends, cousins, even people I was hanging out with yesterday, they have it, not because they want to use it just to, show out and flex in front of everybody, but just for their own safety because it's a scary place that we're in nowadays. You don't know when you could go out. You don't know it every single time that you're going to make it back to where you live. That's a scary reality for some people that they don't want to face.
And I'm sorry, but this also ties into what you were saying about that negative, being afraid of that negative. Why are we as young people or people in general so afraid of the answer no? If a young lady denies being with me, why in the world would I take it upon myself to take her life? And vice versa with genders.
Earlier.
Why?
Yeah.
And if my brother here asked for something and I tell him no, that wouldn't give him the right to take my life. Why are we so afraid of that? It's just it's a I don't want to go over time, but that just really was on my heart because of the young lady that recently that was on the news and about was it Alabama basketball player, and she said it's
She had a dude and everything.
yes,
The basketball player.
yes.
Can I go off something like that?
Go ahead.
Because I did wanted to get into that when we had the first conversation because I I have a strong I believe that if a woman does not want to speak to you, whatever case may be, she shouldn't feel like she has to. But I feel like we as women, when we go out, we are expected to. So when I go out and a guy is hitting on me that I might not want to talk to, because most of the time I'm just going out just to have fun. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to be around anybody else but who I'm with. And I feel like I have to speak to them. I have to give them my number just so I don't put myself in danger because of what they might do to me because they think you rejected them. It might be them. It just could just be me. I don't want to be bothered. I don't. And that's why I feel like people have, they find it, they don't have the courage to say no.
60 seconds. I promise you I won't be long. I promise you I won't be long. I know we got to wrap it up. 60 seconds. Yeah, not 30. We can go all night. So, quick question. My question is it worth it? Because what you're about to do with that particular weapon that you have, is it worth the next 30 years of your life? Because what you're going to do with that weapon and what you can potentially do with that weapon is one cause the next 30 to 40 to 50 to all of your life. Because one, you got to look at the color of your skin. You already are not accepted in most places. There are a few places that you can feel safe. And sad to say, it's not, there are some churches that you can't even feel safe in nowadays. Because you can go into certain churches and just because the color of your skin, there will be a church security guard that'll come up behind you in one door, an officer step at the one door and another one come at the other side. Oh, you don't belong here. And they will intimidate you because they do have weapons. And you can just become, I thought it was a church, I thought all were welcome. But what happens when you step into the situation where all are not welcome? And we can not just talk about the color of your skin, but what happens to a situation when all are not welcome because of your sexuality? Or all are not welcome because of, I believe a certain kind of way. Or all are not welcome because you got blue eyes and I got brown eyes and now we separate. But because you had, it puts you in that mindset of, what does this gun actually give me? Does it give me some power, like liquor and alcohol and weed? Does it give me that liquid courage that I need? Or is it just something that I use to say that it makes me a little bit more safe? Because if a gun makes you feel more safe, I'm sad for you. A gun shouldn't be the determining factor of your safety. You should have something in your mental state of mind because all of the topics we covered today, all of them do with a mental battle.
Yeah.
It's not so far as the actual subject themselves. It's the spiritual and mental battle that we have to fight to not use these substances or not to do these things that we're doing. None of this has to do with any of the things themselves because all of these things, God said that all things that he created were good. It's how we use them. I do believe that weed could be good. I do believe alcohol can be good. I do believe that if you use a gun correctly, because you don't have to go and you don't have to use a bow and arrow anymore to kill your animals. I believe they all can be good. It's how you use them. What was the intent of your weapon? What was the intent of the alcohol? What was the intent of the date that you were taking that young lady on? Was it to? It's the intention behind what you do. So with everything you do, make sure it wasn't worth it. Okay.
Thanks, my line brother.
Yeah, that was more than 60 seconds. But I'm here real quick. So my biggest thing, like I said, is change. It starts with us. So as me and my brothers right here with me, we are a part of Collegiate 100. We are the auxiliary chapter of the 100 Black Men of America, of Greater Huntsville, to be more specific. So our thing is mentoring. We want to talk to the younger kids here, or even people of our age. We don't want them to let them know, like, it's okay to not do this. It's okay to live this way. It's okay to think this way. It's okay to not do this. It starts with us. If we can start telling people around us as a start to leave these things alone, to leave these negative aspects alone, these worldly things that are plaguing our community nowadays, that's the first step into changing this whole stigma that we have around us. And for some people, that's in us.
Thank you. Couple of things. So when you do purchase your gun, please, please, please go and take you a gun safety class. That will teach you the proper way to handle a gun. It will teach you so much. It's not that expensive, but just take a gun safety class when you do that. Number two, Alabama has the weakest gun laws in the country, and we're fifth with the highest gun death rates. So, along with other states in 2022, which allows residents now to carry a concealed handgun without a license. You don't have to have a state permit to purchase one. You don't have to register it. You don't have to do anything. You could just have it. So, we wonder why we were in the state that we're in. I don't know if you have a gun now, or if you intend to purchase one, if you have family members that have guns. I have some gun locks that I have out on the table out there. So please, take you one. If you, have family members or somebody, then take two. But, that's all part of that gun safety, because once those locks are in, they're not accessible to young kids. They can get them, but they can't use them because they have the locks on them. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you to all of our segment leaders. Thank you to all of our participants. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your critical thinking. Believe it or not, that means so much. Of course, my name is Reverend Dr. Gregory Scott. I am the pastor here at Phillips CME Church, and I tell you, I am hopeful. I am hopeful that there are those in your age category that think such critically to help us navigate through alcoholism and drugs and peer pressure, which is really about taking responsibility. It's about thinking through, even though these things are accessible to us, how we utilize them. How do we go about doing that? I can tell you all day, don't drink. But guess what? You're going to have you one. Be responsible. You're going to find yourself in some situations when there are folks who are drunk and who are on drugs. What do? You got to make a decision, because here's the thing. There is only one person in this whole wide world that you got control of. And who is that? That's you. You are the only one you can control. That even goes into relationships. Don't think that you gonna change her or she gonna change you. It ain't gonna happen. So you've got to be responsible about the relationships you get in. And if you get in thinking that you are going to change somebody, you already messed up. And here's the other thing. I'll say that. I'll say this. Don't ever look for someone to complete you. Look for someone who will enhance what you already have. Because I love me some me. Folks here at Phillips will tell you, I'll get up in the pulpit and I'll say, oh, I love me some me. I look in the mirror and love me. But guess what? I love my wife also. We have a great time together, but we enhance each other. Because guess what? If she's not there, life still goes on. Life does not stop. I don't stop being who I am because she leaves. But she makes me a better person. Y'all with me? Guns and gun violence. Oh, Lord Jesus. Y'all dealt with it. Y'all dealt with it, and I thank you so very much. Guns are out there. I've owned a gun before in my lifetime. But one thing you've got to be is about being responsible. And now, and you said it, bro. You said it, man. People cannot deal with rejection. People cannot deal with this idea of no. You know, oh, everybody got to get a trophy because we got to get a participation trophy, and nobody knows how to deal with rejection. Really? If you don't learn how to deal with rejection, you'll never get through life. And we've got to teach our children how to deal with the idea of no. Look, little Jimmy, no. Little Jimmy fall in the middle of the floor of Walmart. Little Jimmy, you can't. No, Jimmy got to learn how to deal with. And if you don't deal with it then, when he gets into high school, when he gets into college, he gets into date rape, all of a sudden now he has to get a gun to prove his manhood. Anyway, The preacher already done preached. Um, but I thank y'all so very much. I thank you. And I am just grateful for you coming. I'm grateful for your participation. I pray that we can do this again. Um, and prayerfully we can do it in a way that we can get others to come in and have this open forum and this open discussion about how do we deal with these issues and what can we as the church, how can we as this community of faith help in dealing with this issue? Go with number one. How can we as the church help navigate or help our young people deal with some of these situations? Give me a one word answer.
Oh, I don't have one word.
Give me one
Yeah,
quick
no, I
thought.
can't. So, how can the church help?
How can
Be
the church-
available.
Huh?
Be available.
Yes.
The church, a lot of the times, people are not prone to coming to the church because we stopped treating the church like it was a hospital and started treating it like it was a production. A lot of times we step into these churches and it's not just about what they see on Sundays. It's about what they see after Sunday service, all the way up until the next Sunday. And people don't see us outside of those hours. Like they see us on Sunday morning when they pull up and they park the car, they're here. But they need to see us. We're out in the community. And hey, if you need anything, call us. There used to be a time, like at my church, like my pastor, we just got a new pastor. The very first thing he came in and said, "Who was your deacon?" There used to be a time if a member didn't show up to church, call your deacon. Your deacon was gonna know where you was.
All right.
When people are held accountable for you, and it's not just you checking in on you, because the one thing that you have to do, I watched the video last night and it talked about how Michael Jackson, and if Michael Jackson needed somebody to train him on how to sing, and he was one of the greatest pop singers in the world, and Michael Jordan needed somebody, a coach to train him on his shooting, and you can do a little bit better than this. And Serena Williams, she needs a coach. If they need a coach, they were responsible enough to know that they have to hold themselves accountable. They took the accountability off of them and put it in somebody else's hands.
All
That
right.
way it keeps them fair.
All right. So your one word is accountability.
Yes, that's fine.
All right. Number two. Cam.
He said accountability. Acceptance.
Acceptance.
Be willing to bring in everybody that's willing to come this way. If somebody takes the effort, builds up the courage to come this way, accept them. Accept them for who they are. Accept them for what they believe in. And just accept them. A lot of times, a lot of people, they just need security or they value or they want security. And, what better place than the right church to come out for security? Not only secure by the people in the church, but secure by the Lord here while he's watching all of us.
Okay.
That's my word.
I got.
My bad.
So basically, you got it. Is it on?
Yeah, you good.
Okay, so kind of piggybacking off what you said, but I say love.
Love.
Yes. Um, Everyone can say they love a person, but it's good for that person or for a person to at least try to get someone to feel that love that's coming from. So I would say value as well, but you didn't ask for two. But yeah.
What you got?
I would say influence.
Influence.
Um, there's a lot of lost people in this world, and feel like a lot of more people need someone to look up to that's going to lead them into the right direction. Uh, a lot of times we look at different areas, whether it's our favorite rapper or our favorite singer or anybody we see on social media, which is so high these days. But sometimes we just need to find someone in our community that's going to help us be a better person that we can be, that's going to be on an actual local level. Because the people that we look up to that's on and there's news and social media and stuff, that's not the type of life that's actually attainable.
Got you. Influence.
Oh, Savion wants to say something else. My bad.
All right.
You want to say something else?
Can I say something? Oh, all right. Yeah. Coach. So in order to actually get, and this is, I've worked with young kids and boys and girls club. I've worked in YMCA's. I've been around. I've done some things, but a lot of kids need coaching. They need mentors and they need people that are in the fields that they want to be in later in life. If this kid said he want to be an astronaut, set him up. Let him, and there's NASA right there. Get something going. We can at least get you to look at what's outside of NASA. At least apply for that summer program that they have at NASA. Something to make it at least look or feel like, oh, well, I at least got an application in. It gets kids excited. So that coaching, that mentor aspect, that kind of, starts young.
Appreciate you.
I would say communication. I feel like people in the church are kind of more scared to have certain conversations about certain topics. So just being able to have open conversation and being able to hear other people's viewpoints and just being really open for that conversation.
Okay, thank you.
I would say understanding, because some people they come to the church and like they talk to the pastor, and some people like like basically for acceptance. So like the church is supposed to be like where you feel comfortable at. You're supposed to be able to feel how you feel. Like, oh well, I'm kind of going through something right now, and I just don't know how I'm going to get through it. And then there's people like outside of the church, like, well, you should just do this. You should just do that. And so having someone who like can understand you and basically just take time to be with you and spend time with you and listen to you actually instead of not just hearing you.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
I was gonna say not being judgmental.
Judge,
I've been
non-judgmental. Got you.
I've been in church. I grew up in a church where they judged, literally watched us grow up, and they would judge us for the person who we're growing or learning to be. And instead of like helping us navigate through that, they made it into a negative thing, which made us not want to come back, which made us shut down, which made us leave and you never spoke to us again. And then they will take it as that's just the devil, when really it was really you. I didn't feel safe anymore. We didn't feel safe anymore.
My word is vulnerability.
What is it?
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Ooh, we.
I think we have a lot of walls up as a generation of wanting to do our own thing. Some of us don't have a strong faith with God. A lot of them I did see, they don't have a real strong faith. They think the second they get through those doors, they get prejudged. They have their walls up immediately. They don't want to be around people that prejudge them all the time. So I feel like maybe if we open up a little bit different, come with more love, more affection, get their walls to be knocked down a little bit, we can be more vulnerable and get down to the problem of and get a stronger faith with God.
Amen. Well, thank y'all again so very much. My last thought would be, as you grow and as you begin to reach towards your goals, one thing I'll always say, find you a safe space. Find you somebody that you can be you with. Because a lot of times we are in church and there's a certain way church is. But there's always got to be a safe space where you can just be. I look at there's a safe space that I have that I don't have to be Pastor Scott. I can just be great. Find you a safe space, and that allows you to decompress. So whether it's church, whether it's your boys, your girls, whatever that safe space, find somewhere where you can just be who you are. You can be vulnerable. You can be in that space of not being judged. You can have that faith, that space of love and acceptance and all of that to help you become who God desires for you to become. Amen. Thank you again so very much. Thank you, Brother Perkins and the Christian Board of Christian Education for this panel. And we got to do this again. I have really enjoyed it, and it has given me something to think about. And you giving me some preaching stuff too. I appreciate it. Great. All right, let us pray. Heavenly most eternal God, we thank you, Lord, for allowing us this opportunity to gather together to talk. Thank you for this Talk About It Tuesday. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to engage with these college students to help us understand where they are and to be able to see with new eyes what is going on in our communities and in their sphere of influence. Lord, we just thank you for them. We pray blessings upon them. We pray your divine spirit falls fresh anew upon them. Dispatch angels on their behalf to protect them as they matriculate through college and as they go into their various fields of study and careers. Lord, be with them. Open doors for them. Allow them to go above and beyond anything they could ever imagine. But Lord, as they reach to higher heights, let them not forget from whence they have come. Let them be able to help somebody else along the way. Help to be able to lift somebody up so that they can also experience the greater. Lord, we thank you for this moment. We thank you for this time. Now, Lord, as we leave this place, but never from your presence, watch over us and keep us until we're able to gather together again. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.